Welcome to Does It Matter by Brainy Ballers, where we dissect the game with cutting-edge analytics to give you the upper hand. We analyze everything from hand sizes to average depth of targets to uncover hidden trends that no one else sees. Say goodbye to guesswork and hello to data-driven domination. Because here at Brainy Ballers, we don't just watch the game, we understand it. So get ready, it's podcast time.
Okay, so picture this. You're staring at a spreadsheet of rookie tight ends. You see this one guy who just absolutely crushed the short shuttle drill.
The agility test.
Yeah, exactly. That pure lateral quickness. And you immediately think, okay, this guy's going to be unguardable in the red zone. But, I mean, before you go and draft him on that one number, we really have to ask, does it actually translate to fantasy points?
It is the classic combine trap, isn't it? We see this great athlete, and we automatically assume great producer.
Yeah, we're digging into the 97th installment of the Does It Matter series from Brainy Ballers.
And their mission was pretty comprehensive. They unpacked over 20 years of data.
Specifically looking at the top 50 PPR fantasy finishers at tight end.
Yeah.
Every single season since 2003.
And the methodology they used to find a signal in all that noise is, I think, really clever. They didn't compare, all pros to guys who got cut in camp.
Right.
They compared the top 10, your elite fantasy guys, against the bottom 10 of that same group. So the players finishing 41st to 50th.
And that distinction is so vital. You're not comparing a starter to a nobody. You're comparing the guys winning leagues to the guys who are, just clogging up your roster.
Exactly. It isolates what actually separates the best from the merely average. And when you do that, the initial data suggests agility. It does matter.
Yeah.
In 14 of the last 21 seasons, so what's that, about 67% of the time, the top 5 fantasy finishers did have faster shuttle times than the guys in that bottom tier.
I mean, that tracks with the eye test, right? Faster generally means better separation.
But Brainy Ballers, they didn't just stop at faster's better. They actually found a specific performance shelf, a cutoff point on the stopwatch.
Like a velvet rope for the elite club.
Pretty much. They found a magic number, and that number is 4.19 seconds.
4.19. For a human the size of a tight end, that is genuinely fast.
It's elite speed. And the analysis showed that hitting a shuttle time of 4.19 seconds or below, that correlates with a 13.0% higher rate of cracking that top 10.
Do you want to start dominating your drafts? At BrainyBallers.com, we've researched every metric under the sun for you to find which ones are best linked to fantasy points. You can access hundreds of metrics to sharpen your scouting abilities so you know which metrics matter and which are just noise. Stop guessing on which thresholds to look for within each metric. Big numbers can be misleading or irrelevant. Our Ultimate Athlete Blueprints reveal essential scouting metrics, their importance, and benchmarks within each metric that help predict a player's probability of being a success or bust. Elevate your scouting ability with Brainy Ballers' Ultimate Athlete Blueprints today. Click the link in the description. Now back to the show.
I mean, that feels like actionable intelligence. If I'm torn between two prospects and one ran a 4.15 and the other a 4.3, this suggests I lean toward the agility king.
Ideally, yes, but, and this is a big but, this is where we have to be really careful not to overcorrect. Because while that specific threshold gives you a little boost, the overall statistical picture is surprisingly weak. They ran the Pearson correlation coefficient on the whole data set.
Okay, so for anyone who hasn't taken a stats class recently, that just measures the strength of the link between two things. You want a number close to 1 or -1 to show a real connection.
Precisely. And for tight end shuttle times and fantasy points, the score was -0.044.
-0.044. That's nothing. That's statistically indistinguishable from zero. It's just noise.
It's basically zero. I mean, to give you some context, let's look at something we know has a real signal, like quarterback draft capital.
High draft picks do better.
The Pearson score for that is -0.219. That's a significant signal. -0.044 tells us that, broadly speaking, a tight end's shuttle time tells you almost nothing about their future rank.
That's a massive contradiction. So on one hand, you've got this 4.19 magic number that gives you a nice boost, but on the other, the broad correlation is just non-existent.
It's a real puzzle. It suggests that while, yes, elite agility is a nice plus trait for the absolute top tier, it's not a prerequisite for success. And to make things even more complicated, the trend is actually moving in the wrong direction.
Ah, this is the decadal shift they mentioned.
That's it. When they broke the data down by decade, that already weak correlation is getting even weaker. The importance of that optimal range, that sub 4.19 speed, is way lower in the most recent decade than it was in the early 2000s.
Which kind of implies the position itself is evolving. Maybe modern offenses are relying less on those short area cuts and more on, straight line speed, finding soft spots in zone coverage.
That's the likely culprit. The physical requirements are changing. So the final verdict from the source is pretty simple. Doesn't matter. Not quite. There just isn't enough evidence to use this as a standalone predictor.
But what if you're absolutely stuck? You've got two guys, everything else is equal.
Then, okay, use it as a tiebreaker, strictly a tiebreaker. Look for that sub 4.19 barrier, but just don't reach for a player because of it.
It really leaves you with a much bigger question, though. If the shuttle run, the ultimate test of agility, is becoming irrelevant for tight ends, what physical trait is taking its place in the modern game? Something to chew on.